Power Wash, Panhandle Power Wash Supply is having a free technical training event, biggest one in the industry. I've got one of the people there that are going to be exhibiting this new technology that's right here, guys, right there in the middle of the screen. It's a all-in-one pressure washer, soft wash system. It's one dedicated pump doing pressure washing and soft washing right through the pump. The chemicals are dispersed with the proportioner right with the mixer, proportion, whatever you guys want to call it, right through the pump. With a flip of a switch, you go from high pressure to low pressure. We got a video out there. I'm going to attach it to this video. You guys can watch it. This man right here, Ryan Cash. Introduce yourself, Ryan, and give him a little bit of rundown on this machine first, and then tell him what we're going to be, what kind of training we're going to be doing at the event.
Yeah, sure thing. For those who don't know me yet, I'm Ryan Cash. I've been in this exterior cleaning industry for the past, 15 years or so, 10, 15 years. Ran crews, trained a lot of guys how to clean roofs and siding for a while. Got hired on to Legend Brands. Now I'm kind of help put this together. This is kind of my baby project. The all-in-one XCX 500. What it is, it's got a 14 horsepower Kohler engine. It's got a stainless steel general pump with all ceramic heads, and everything in the machine is designed to work with the bleach. We've worked with General Pump, with their engineers. We've worked with our engineers and our chemists, and we're able to actually meter the bleach and surfactant before the pump, pull it through, so it gets you the higher concentrations like you do with soft wash, and also gets you the pressure that you get with pressure washing. And so we can do it all in one. So like Ron said, it's a turn of a dial and a couple switches for your concentrations, and you go from soft washing to pressure washing, just all with one hose.
Pretty crazy.
We're pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
And you asked about the Panhandle event too. So we're actually going to have the machine there. We're going to have a booth set up inside, but I'm going to be taking part of the training also. So we're going to have the machine there in our demo truck. We're going to be running it. We're going to go over how to use this machine, but also how to soft wash a roof and siding and do the flat work, and how to get it all done with one machine, compact and easy, to save you time and money, and probably most importantly, space on your vehicle.
Yeah, you don't need 3 pumps. You don't need to run around with 5 pressure washing units. I mean, this will do it, man. And technically, if you wanted to, you could still downstream with this, right?
You could. There wouldn't really be a need to. But
not really. But what if the proportioner didn't work? What if something happened? A check valve was leaking. You could pop a downstream injector on there, throw a bucket on the ground, and bam, you're up and running. You're downstreaming. So reality, you get the best of all 3 worlds, right? I mean, you can downstream, pressure wash, and soft wash, all with one dedicated pump. It's absolutely crazy. Probably could even XJet. Even more insane. This thing does it all.
Yeah, if
you know what? For fun, man, we're gonna have to try it and take a video. You know what I mean? We're gonna have to try. We're gonna have to take a video of that. I think that's gonna be a cool thing. Really cool.
Well, here's what I would say about the XJet. I think it's a great tool if you have a separate chemical that you may not want to run through the pump, something maybe acidic that you're just worried about mixing with the bleach. I see no problem with hooking up an XJet and pulling it through there, and that way you avoid getting that through the pump and mixing it with the bleach. But the pump itself will do it all as well, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, sounds like a really, really, really cool thing. Unbelievable though, huh? It's this show's coming up really close. I mean, it's going to happen now. We're pretty soon. We're going to be down to like 3 weeks. We're going to be coming right here after the first of the year. It'll be 3 weeks, and we'll wind up. We're going to have to be in the Panhandle. I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Lots and lots of fun. What are you looking forward to doing down there besides obviously showing this equipment off of me? Are you going to do anything crazy, or going to get some jet skis and go out on the golf or anything like that? Or
I might have to say no comment. My wife is friends with me on Facebook, and she's not attending with me, so she's going to be home with the kids. So yeah, no comment on that one. I'm looking forward to
We're
working.
not gonna give any commitments to that one so far.
Yeah, working and sleeping is all I'm doing.
Man, you're right there, Destin, Florida. You're right there with the Panama is just down the road, man. It's crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. But yeah, I think, man, for fun, we should bring over an X-Jet and show them even that it can X-Jet. You might even add that into the training that, hey, man, here we go here. You want to run, I mean, because you only have one you have a surfactant tank and the bleach tank, right?
Yeah, and then we have the water buffer tank also, but as far as Tim's go, yeah.
Right. So what you could do is like you said, hey, man, you got to you decided that you're maybe going to soft wash this gas station, but you're also going to clean the pad. And I know this predominantly isn't a commercial unit per se. It was designed to use in a residential home setting. But hey, who knows? A guy says, hey, man, I got a gas station I want cleaned. They can go down there, X-Jet the degreaser down on the thing, run the surface cleaner over it. Bam, gas station is clean. Hit the soft wash system with the building on the mold and mildew. Boom, they're done. I mean, huge advantages to this machine, guys. And that's what I want to hit home with these guys, that it's an all-in-one deal. We got some of these guys here. Let's see if they're chiming in. I don't know if you're reading the comments.
Yeah, I was looking at
I don't know if you know Jeremy Brook, but he's kind of a jokester. He's a funny guy down there in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
I don't know if Flip's coming down there or not. He Flip's up from Delaware. That's who we got on there. I'm actually surprised, man. We got 19 guys on here this morning. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good audience. We were holding 40 guys last night with Trudy and company online. So it was a lot of fun last night. A couple of these shows have been really good. And I just want to tell these guys tonight, we'll be on with John Tornabene. Everybody loves John because he's a hoot. We'll be on with John Tornabene tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Garage Cleaning Talk Live, guys. We're going to have somebody he's bringing on the show is supposed to be somebody. I don't know who the guy's name is, but I'm sure John will tell us later. And look forward to that tonight at 8 p.m. Pretty much on Wednesdays and Thursdays, you're going to see a lot of Ron online because we're doing the Trudy show and a guest speaker every Wednesday night. So we'll have two people on for probably about an hour and a half. And then on Thursday mornings, we're bringing at least somebody on that's doing some technical training and exhibiting at the show. Today's Ryan's turn. We might have Ryan come back on in a couple more weeks just to give some of the guys that a refresher on it. Some guys might want to already ask. I'm going to ask this. We already have it was a few weeks ago, it was 297 companies that were registered. So that's awesome. Companies. And everybody always brings somebody. So that's a lot of people coming already. And I bet it's already over. I bet it's close to 400 now. I think I glanced at the number. We'll have a new count on Monday. And it'll be official, and I'm sure it's going to be over 400 because I think at a quick glance it was like 378 right now. So I'm sure it's going to be over 400 companies, and everybody knows people don't come alone. They tend to bring somebody with them, so it's a lot of bodies that are going to be there. Heck, Ryan, how many people are you bringing? You in your
gosh, crew? We're 5, I think 5 total just with our group, and so but yeah, kind of what you're saying though is. As far as guys who are bringing employees, this is something you want to check out if you're bringing your employees. We kind of built this machine for you guys in mind. This is so easy to train somebody on. There's very little room for error. This is made for the employee who you are sending out on their own or sending out with a helper. There's four.
Man, I'm going to tell you right now. I won't mention the equipment of whose it is, but I was at a show years ago, and they had a release of a new piece of equipment, and we were kind of doing some training with it, and we had a little bit of a problem with it. And everybody turned to me like, Ron, you've been doing this for 30 years. I was like, man, that thing's got so many switches and valves on it, man. I don't know what to flip. I don't want to break something, man. And it's unbelievable because it was basically in new design, and I was thinking, I've always had employees, so you're right. Like everything we built was identical. I mean, everything was identical. Switches were in the same spot. Hoses were in the same spot. Chems in the same spot. One employee took a different piece of equipment. They knew they could run any equipment because It was identical. It was the same. And you're right. That's a huge thing when you're talking about that. And we'll use an example of Starbucks. If people don't realize this, man, but I know that the chocolate milk is in that cooler by their right knee. I mean, anytime you go to get I get kids hot cocoa. So they go, guess what? They go right there. Right there, it's at their right knee. They flap open that cooler. And no matter what Starbucks I go to, that's right there. And then the syrup is right off to their left, and it's number 2 in the spot. And I mean, I notice things like this because, it's systems types of things, and you start realizing, okay, so this is great. They can plug an employee from one store to another store, and there's no real retraining process because everything is identical. And you're right. This machine, man, is very simple. And because it's only one engine, one power plant, one pump, a couple of mixing valves, you got a metering valve for this, surfactant, which tell us a little about that surfactant valve, because I was impressed with, you were saying, tell them how accurate this thing is. It's because that is a true metering valve.
Yep. Yeah. So the issue with a lot of the metering guys do with surfactants now is you are basing your surfactant on what you're applying to a house solely based on the feel. So you may look at, okay, am I getting enough foam? Am I not getting enough foam? Or you stick your hand in there, it's like, okay, does that feel soapy enough or whatever? And that's super inaccurate. You may have somewhere on your dial where like, oh, I'm usually right around here. So we actually use a float valve. We use it as well on our truck mount machines that we sell for carpet cleaning. And so we've been using these valves forever. This one's stainless, so it's going to be designed to kind of work with the bleach and everything else. But it is a 10-gallon-an-hour valve, and it's got marks on it every gallon an hour. And so with our surfactants, and with most on the market, you're going to be running at 5.5 gallons a minute. You're going to be running 2 to 4 gallons an hour. So you twist the dial, hold down the trigger, the float floats up. You have a visual representation of where it's at. So you can actually know, like, hey, I'm using 2 gallons an hour. I'm using 4 gallons an hour. Or if I need a little bit more, I'm using 5 gallons an hour, instead of just based on feel and how quickly your surfactant tank drains. So, yeah, it's a huge advantage being able to know, to be more precise, because as with bleach, surfactants probably your most expensive.
I was impressed with that because let's be realistic, okay? Lots of guys go, well, a metering valve is not a ball valve. And reality is, it's a very expensive ball valve.
Right, yeah.
That's what it really is. The difference between it is that it might be a little bit more. It might be able to handle chemicals a little bit better. It's a little tighter, so the vibration of the equipment, it's staying. It was made rigid, so it's going to stay in. It's going to hold its place. Where a normal ball valve, one, we know what's going to happen. They're going to leak after a certain amount of time, because a regular ball valve will work for metering, but it's going to wind up leaking. It's going to weep, and it's going to leak, and it's going to fail. Where a metering valve is put together in a different way, where they've kind of had a fail safe on that, on how that is, where somebody's using it more often and using it at half turns, quarter turns, things like that. So it works a little bit different internally, but in essence, they're still ball valves. I mean, and it's just, and how accurate it is. Wow. Guys don't realize the variables on that. How much surfactant do you have in your tank? What's your water flow actually going to be rated at? Because people think that, I bought a 5.5 gallon a minute machine, and they believe it's going to be 5.5 gallons a minute. And that is not, from the first day you run it, that is not the truth. It's going to fluctuate. It might go more, it might go less, but it's all going to depend on lots of variables that are going to be out there in the field. Now, what I like about yours too, and I want to talk to these guys about this, you have a direct application. So if you got enough water flow, you can hook the machine up direct, right? Yeah. And that's a big thing, because when you're trying to diagnose a problem and you can't hook up direct, there's a lot of things that you can't weigh out of the factor of what's wrong with the equipment. And I don't think lots of guys, maybe inexperienced guys, wouldn't understand that. We always had a way to hook a pump up direct or run it through the tank, because sometimes there's just problems with running through the tank. You might have a problem where you got something in the tank, it's clogged up, something intermittently is stopping the water from flowing, because you start off and all of a sudden you run, and a little bit down the road, all of a sudden the machine's vibrating because it's starving of water. Well, things happen: mildew, mold, dirt. Somebody dropped something in the tank, didn't say something to somebody. It's floating around in there. It gets to a certain level, and bam, it gets sucked in. It doesn't go through the pump, but it restricts the water from flowing. Well, when you can hook up direct, you can eliminate that. Oh, I don't have a pump problem. I have a problem with the tank and the plumbing coming from the tank to the machine. So you can eliminate that problem by hooking it up directly and knowing, oh, everything's running fine direct and we're good to go. So I mean, that's just a huge benefit. And when you got a good water supply, there's nothing wrong with hooking up direct. The only time you really wanting to use a buffer tank is when your water supply it's not as in demand as you need. Obviously, you need 5.5 gallons. Do we know what a residential tap in your area runs as far as?
Man, it varies so much. I mean, if you're more out in the country, where I live, I probably get 6 gallons an hour out of my spigot at my house. But I mean, it varies. I would say on average, you're looking like 3 to 5, but some are 8, some are 2. And if you're on a well, you have less.
And obviously that's when you need a buffer tank. So that's awesome stuff. Well, we weren't going to do this long today. I was going to keep it short. I didn't know if you knew that or not, but we're going to keep it short today. Anything that you want to, I always try to give people a tip. Like in your contracting business, was there something that you replicated and repeated to develop develop success? Is there something something you did that really made you successful that you just didn't fail doing? I mean, was there something? Because I know one tip is a lot of guys, they'll turn on marketing so much and then they get so busy that they can't keep the marketing up. And then all of a sudden they're sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring because they were so busy that they couldn't do any marketing. Any tips like that you could give these guys, maybe some little nugget of something that worked for you?
Yeah. Thanks for putting me on the spot, but I think I've got something. I think the biggest thing for me, I mean, there's always marketing. There's commercial ads, there's Facebook ads, there's different ways you can market. But I think for me, the best thing was always every single house I went to, every single roof I cleaned, every driveway I cleaned, I tried to think of this house as if it was my grandma's house or my mom's house. It's not just I'm not looking around the house to find upsells. I'm looking to find things that I think would benefit the customer. And so it may be.
So even if it had nothing to do with it, you would tell them that they had an issue, and you're saying that built a lot of trust, and that trust turned into repeat business, or potentially turned into, hey, my daughter has a house, and I talked to her, and she'd like you to come over. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the absolute best, most qualified lead is a referral. If somebody says, hey, you cleaned my house, I thought you did a great job. You noticed that my stairs coming down my porch are slick, and so you took care of theirs for me, so I'm not going to slip and fall. Hey, that's awesome. I'm going to go tell my friends about it. I'm going to tell my kids. If I notice my brother's house is a dirty roof, I'm going to recommend the company that just took care of me, and not just the company that I find the
absolutely, man. I think that's a huge factor. I mean, people, especially in the commercial world, they want you to be their eyes and ears. We all know commercial customers, sometimes they've never visited the property in 6 months, and if you're out there washing it and then you don't report this obvious problem, I mean, you became the problem. I mean, you washed by that, you washed clear around that abandoned vehicle that was on blocks, that stolen car, and you didn't tell us, and by the way, that happened to us once. So we had a crew washed all the way around this abandoned car. And it's funny because there was a guy crashed into a storefront, and it was a hit and run. And they didn't even, they called the police, but they didn't notify the owners, right? So in the morning, the owners didn't find out till it was almost time to open their business. Well, this happened at 2:00 in the morning. They could have had it cleaned up and been opened up for business if they had known in the morning, but the guys didn't say anything, and they just cleaned all the way. same thing, cleaned all the way around the mess of the car and went on down their way and then left. And then in the morning, obviously there's cameras like, hey man, why didn't you guys tell us about this? Well, we called the police, no, but why didn't you call us and tell us so we could have opened the center? So wound up impeding their business. And obviously, what do we not want to do? We don't want to wind up impeding their business. And if grandma or Aunt Susie's got a tile falling off her roof, might hit somebody in the head, obviously we want to let them know, hey man, you got a tile hanging here. It's dangerous. You might want to get somebody out to fix that. Worth its weight in gold. Great tip, Ryan. Great tip.
Yeah. I've got probably one story for you. I can tell you kind of similar to yours. This is probably my first couple months ever of being in this industry. I was doing windows and gutters and cleaning and all that. So brand new to it, still trying to figure things out, trying to figure out my workflow. And I cleaned these windows at a house. And my boss, maybe 2 or 3 days later, got a phone call from the customer saying, hey, your technician that was out here just scratched all of our windows up. There's scratch marks all over the windows. They're just absolutely destroyed. And we need you to pay to replace all $10,000 of windows on the house.
Wow.
And so my boss brought me aside. He's like, hey, I want to know what was your process? I want to make sure are you the one that scratched it? It's we've got insurance if that's the case. So I wasn't in trouble, but he's like, we need to make sure that this is our fault. And at that time, I didn't have a set process. I didn't have a routine. And so what I told him was I don't think I did. I'm pretty certain that it wasn't me, but I can't say for sure. I don't remember if I used a razor on him or what I did. So I think he ended up paying cash to replace all the windows for the home. But that was my lesson learned of, if I see something, I need to develop a process. So I do it the same way every time, and also report to the customer what I see.
Document problems. Yep. That's right. Yep. I can't tell you how many windows we replaced that we didn't argue about. Oh, you broke the window. Okay. Yeah. Get a guy over there to fix the window. We didn't take a picture of it. We didn't report it before it started. So as an owner, sometimes you can't even question whether the consumer's wrong or right at that point, because if your crews didn't document it, well, then guess what? We broke it.
It's your fault. Yeah.
And sometimes you can go over there and see, okay, man, this has been broken for a very long time, because you can tell, but sometimes the homeowners didn't realize it was broken until they actually went around and started going and look at the job you did. And then they go, oh man, I got a broken window. And it could have been broken from the lawn. 9 times out of 10, I know this is the facts. It's always the landscaper that's busting the windows. Okay?
Yeah, throwing rocks at the lawnmower.
They're throwing rocks with the lawnmower, the weed eater, everything else. I mean, when we wash windows or power wash, man, we're not busting a window unless somebody puts a shooter tip through a window. I mean, now if you're surface cleaning, you can definitely break a glass door on a patio or something like that, because you will shoot rocks. And if you're dummy, here we go about the process again. If you don't rinse the debris off of the area you're going to surface clean first, and then obviously you don't do that, well, then you're going to throw a rock through the window and you're going to bust the door, And we just have a glass guy. He's on call. We got a 24-hour-a-day one because we work commercial stuff. So we can call them in the middle of the night. They'll go out and take care of it in the middle of the night, and it's 24-hour service, because you just in business. Guess what? Accidents are gonna happen. You're gonna bust a window or two. And one of the big things is what customers really appreciate, and this is another tip: when you own it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
you
don't try to hornswoggle out of the situation where, oh, I didn't break that window, and then you're on video busting the window. It's just stupid.
But I'd say that's one of the best ways to get a repeat customer is you can absolutely turn a mistake into a coming back to do some more work for them. If let's say you're walking up on a roof and you break a tile and you come take a picture, come down, I let them know right away. I say, hey, this is what happened, and I already have a plan of how I'm going to fix it. If I broke a window, when I talk to the customer, I say, hey, I've already talked to my glass guy. He's going to come out and fix it for you. You don't need to worry about it. We're taking care of it. And they'll see that you're not trying to skirt around it and say, oh, no, I didn't do that. It wasn't my fault, but you're taking responsibility and ownership, and that's the people want to work with. And that's one of the know, hey, if there is something that happens out of my control, then they're going to take care of it.
Yeah, we want to take care of it and get it done. So, lots of customers really want to know, like especially repeat and commercial customers, when there is a problem, how you're going to handle the problem. That's what they want to know, because they know there's going to be problems. I mean, it's people are not perfect. We're humans. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to make errors. How is it you're going to handle the problem when the problem arises? Are you going to make excuses? Are you going to just take care of it and have no questions? And I can tell you this right now. There's so many things I bet you we've done and we've taken care of. We didn't even do it. But I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue with the customer that's doing $500,000, $250,000 for this. Oh no, we're not going to replace that $200 window. We're going to lose all your work, and we're not going to replace the window for you. I mean, there's some customers you don't argue with them. I mean, people go, customers aren't always right. I'm like, no, there are some customers, they're right no matter what. And you're going to take care of them.
I broke a flagpole, the swivel flagpoles that you have on like a front yard I broke one of those mounts once, and I talked to our office, and the customer wasn't home. And so I talked to our office. The guy went out to our office manager went to Home Depot, bought a new one, brought it straight to me on the job. And so at the end of the job, when I called the customer to tell them about it, it's like, hey, I broke it. It's already been replaced with the exact same thing. It's already up there. You don't even have to worry about it, but wanted to let you know. They would have never known. They would have never known either way, but it tells them, and that what that does is lets them see that they can now justify the higher price that they're paying you.
Right. That's right. Yep.
You're not the $99 guy
because they might have argued. They might have argued with them. So, guys, Roof Tech Cleaning Systems, Ryan Cash. Look at that beautiful machine right there. Goes in the back of a regular size pickup, but he suggests it's a 3/4 ton or heavier duty truck. Obviously, can go in a 1/2 ton, but their recommendations 3/4 to 1 ton. It's phenomenal rig. I'm going to post a video below when we get done here. Guys, make sure you come see Ryan Cash and Roof Tech Systems. Panhandle Power Wash. Register free January 19th and 20th, guys. Ryan, thanks for coming out, man. I appreciate you coming out. Hey, you have a good holiday, man. If we don't talk to you, we'll probably talk to you before that. But have a good holiday, man, and Happy New Year, everybody. We look forward to seeing you guys at the Panhandle event. Have a great day.
Appreciate it. All right, bye.